Renowned attorney Alan Dershowitz announced he is severing ties with the Democratic Party. He called the recent Democratic National Convention the breaking point.
It was the most anti-Jewish, anti-Israel, anti-Zionist convention I have experienced, and I have been watching conventions since 1952.
In an interview with Zeb Brenner, Dershowitz said, "I am absolutely disgusted. I am no longer a Democrat." Dershowitz specifically pointed out some of the speakers at the DNC.
I think the thing that really pushed me is how the Democrats conducted their convention. I cannot be associated with a party that features as its speakers AOC, Sharpton, Liz Warren, and Bernie Sanders.
Alan Dershowitz has been one of the country's most well-known Democrats for decades. His departure further emphasizes radical shifts towards far-left policies in that party. Mike?
The latest on Israel's war to defend itself. Here's ILTV and Israel 365 Steve Leibowitz.
Israeli airstrikes reportedly targeted multiple areas and targets in central Syria, killing at least 5 people and wounding many more. According to Syrian state media, waves of airstrikes struck in the province of Hama, causing damage to infrastructure. The strikes came in the Masyaf area, used as a base for Iranian forces and pro-Iranian militias. The specific target was said to be the Scientific Studies and Research Center used to produce precision surface-to-surface missiles. The IDF had no comment on the Syrian strikes. The chances of a phased hostage for ceasefire deal on the basis of Israel's May proposal are close to zero. That's the word from an Israeli negotiator who reportedly told hostage families that the hostage deal is unlikely. Channel 12 News reports that there is very broad pessimism in the Israeli security establishment for a deal to be struck. The U.S. had indicated it was planning to present a new last-chance bridging proposal in the coming days, but are now reportedly unlikely to do so. According to sources quoted in the report, Prime Minister Netanyahu's press conference insisting on Israeli control of the Philadelphia axis had complicated matters, and Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar's hardening of his positions have buried chances for an agreement. Steve Leibowitz for ILTV and Victory News.
Thank you, Steve. As the situation rapidly changes, remember to continue to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Greg?
Before we go, let's talk with Victory News contributor Tim Barton one more time. Tim, look at this Jerusalem Post story today. The Jewish Democratic Council of America released a poll showing Jewish voters in America favor Kamala Harris over Donald Trump 68-25%. Considering Trump's support of Israel and the Jewish people, does that poll surprise you?
I'm so sorry, guys.
There you go.
Man, my apologies. It's sad, but not necessarily surprising, knowing that so many in the Jewish community in America, they don't believe in God. They don't necessarily support the nation of Israel. And it really is a reflection of the American educational system, where in America, students growing up, they're taught not to love God, not to love America, and even they're taught a lot of the pro-Palestinian kind of rhetoric. So again, it's not surprising. It is sad. Certainly those that love God, that care about the nation of Israel, it's very clear in this upcoming election that there's a very clear distinction between the two candidates and parties, but not necessarily surprising for people that have grown up in the American education system and learned to not like God or Israel.
I want you to listen to RFK Jr.'s powerful new advertisement describing how he prayed every day for 19 years for a chance to protect children and their health. Here it is.
This is a spiritual journey for me. I reached my decision through deep prayer, and I asked myself, what choices must I make to maximize my chances to save America's children and restore national health?
He concludes saying, quote, "We must choose our kids more than we hate each other." Your reaction to that?
I think it's incredible. I think it really is unique to see how God is moving on people's hearts and lives. And for RFK, something he's been burdened with for now decades, and to see potentially him have the opportunity to be part of the Trump administration to do things to help save kids is no doubt an answer to his prayer and many of our prayers as well.
I agree. To find out more about Wall Builders' efforts to defend America and proclaim the foundations of our nation's history, visit wallbuilders.com. Tim, thanks so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.